Valente podcast is officially back, and in this episode, we were joined by Pascal Laberge. Pascal is a very funny and humble guy, and I hope you guys enjoy this one. Pascal, what have you been up to recently?
So I just came back home after the season. So I'm just enjoying golf right now and spending time with family and friends back home. So
Would you say that you're good at golf?
I've got better, yeah, for sure. I started like 3 years ago.
Oh, really?
COVID hit. I really started enjoying golf, and now I'm about like a 12 handicap, so it's a little more enjoyable out there.
Yeah.
Not bad.
And then you're from, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but is it Chateauguay, Quebec?
Yeah.
Is that where you are right now?
No, I'm actually at my girlfriend's place. It's where I played junior, Victoriaville, it's called.
Oh, yeah.
It's always nice to come back here and see some old friends.
For sure.
So we definitely want to talk about the Mariners, probably towards the end, but we want to go way back from the beginning. So, yeah, like I said, you're from Chateauguay, Quebec. So when you were younger, what were some of the things that you liked to do as a kid?
Honestly, hockey has always been really huge in my life. My two brothers were playing hockey, and all my buddies were playing hockey as well. So hockey always been like my main passion, and around where I'm from, we always play hockey outside because like in the winter it's frozen and everything. So hockey has always been like one of the biggest things for me.
Did you play any other sports besides hockey growing up?
Yeah, my dad gave us the chance to play soccer, baseball, even ball hockey. So we've tried pretty much everything.
What were some of the hangout spots that you and your friends used to go to back home?
That's a good question. I'd say the outside rink. Just play ball hockey with rollers on and just meet there after school. I think that's what we did pretty much, yeah.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it was really fun.
So when did you get into hockey?
So I think I was like 3 years old when I first started skating. And then my dad told me that when I was younger, I was like one of the better skaters for my age. So he was like, "You want to play hockey?" I was like, I wanted to do what my older brother did, so I said yes, and just went from there. A work in progress. I wasn't a unreal player when I was young or anything, but just always loved the game. And as as the years went along, I started like being one of the better players in my age group. So that's when it started, and playing in big tournaments in the summer, AAA tournaments, going to Boston, going to Buffalo. So that's how it started. Yeah.
Who were some of the hockey players that you looked up to when you were younger?
Definitely Ovi.
Oh, yeah.
Big Ovi fan. I just remember going on YouTube and looking at his highlights back then. It was really nice. I was always looking up to him. He actually came down to Chateauguay when he was a rookie because his agent's from Montreal, and they had like a charity event in Chateauguay. So I got a signed hat from him when he was a rookie. Fortunately, I lost the hat. So probably be worth a lot of money right now. But
Yeah.
Who's a player that you try to model a game after in today's game? Or is it Ovi?
Not anymore. It's a tough question. I like to look at Nathan McKinnon, but like I know I'm not a player like he is. He's like unreal, but it's fun to see him play. Like yesterday, I watched a game against the Blues, and he's just so fast, and he thinks the game so differently from regular players. I feel like.
Were you a Habs fan growing up?
Big time.
No, I'm a Senators fan. I'm guessing you hated them as a kid.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was a big rivalry against the Sens in Boston, actually.
Transitioning, so when you were 16 years old, you played in the Q, played for the Gatineau Olympique, and you were drafted second overall. I saw that even if that team had the first overall pick, they still would have took you. It's kind of a ways some time back, but can you remember your first game with them and describe what that was like?
Yeah, I remember I was 16, you're young, I was smaller, I was like 160 pounds, and there was like 200-pound guys, big beard, and I was like, holy shit, that's a big step, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously there was added pressure because I was drafted really high. So I was a little nervous going through like the first few exhibition games, and can't remember exactly the first game, but I was probably like really nervous.
Do you remember your first goal in the queue?
Yeah, I do. It was like a broken play, deflection off my foot went in. My family was in town, and it was actually here in Victoriaville, so it was a pretty fun moment because I got traded there after.
So through 15 games with them, you shared the scoring lead with 16-year-olds, 9 points through 15 games with Pierre-Luc Dubois. Did you look at other players' stats and like compare them to you, or did you focus on yourself?
Honestly, at 16, I think I was just focusing on myself, not looking around, because you know it's tough to play at 16, and I was just trying to improve every day, and I had a pretty tough coach behind the bench, and Benoit Grew. He was a like an old school art coach, so I was a little bit scared to play like free and skill. You know, I just didn't want to make any mistakes, so I wasn't really looking at the stats.
And you also got hit hard with injuries during your time with them. I was watching a podcast a couple weeks ago, and someone said that it's probably tough or more tough mentally than it is physically because you can't really do anything. And I guess it kind of depends on the injury, but how did injuries affect you mentally? Because I know you were still so young and you wanted to get on the ice and prove yourself, stuff like that.
Yeah, like injuries are never fun, even through my pro career right now. I've had quite a few bad ones. It's like really lonely because you feel apart from your teammates because you can't really practice. You're working out when they're on the ice, so it's a lot of time by yourself. Um, yeah, it's like really tough, but luckily I have good friends, and my family are always like calling me and texting me to see how I feel. So, but yeah, it's definitely tough when you're hurt.
What are some of the things that you do to occupy your time when you're injured?
I actually listen to the podcast. I'm a big fan of Spit and Chicklets and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You guys probably listen to that
Yeah.
too.
For sure, yeah.
I like reading books once in a while, just about the brain and the mindsets you can have and everything. So try to occupy that time.
Do you listen to a lot of music too? Like in your free time?
Mostly when I'm driving, not really at home, but definitely a big music guy in the car.
You a big Justin Bieber guy?
No, not really. You guys?
I kind of am. Who do
I
you listen to?
Right now I like to listen to Mike. I don't know if you guys heard his music.
No,
It's like Mike Dot, his name, artist name. It's pretty good. It's like vibey music. It's pretty nice.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
Big country guy too. Love country.
Is that the pregame playlist? Country music?
I'd say like morning skate, in the morning to keep it loose. We put country music on, but when it's game time, it's usually like some pretty heavy remix or good
Oh
drops.
yeah. Yeah. You after you spent time with the Olympique, you got traded to Victoriaville Tigres. Is that how you say it in French?
The Tigers, yeah.
You spent 2.5 seasons there. You were still so young when you got traded. So what was that adjustment like? Was it easier or was it kind of tougher than people think?
For myself, it was easier because I was coming back to my midget coach and a few of my teammates in midget. So as a 16-year-old, usually you don't know a lot of the older guys because you've never played with them anywhere else. And to come to them and having a few familiar faces was really easier for me to transfer there.
And I also saw that Sammy Blay was on that team. What's your relationship like with him?
I haven't talked to him in a couple of years now, but I remember when we played together, it was fun. Me and him were both like skilled players, and he was drafted in St. Louis, so I was actually looking up to him. And yeah, it was fun times with Sammy. He was really skilled. I got the chance to play on his line, so we definitely enjoyed that time.
Do you have any relationships or like friendships now that you made from juniors? Then you guys are still close to this day. Any names that pop up in your head?
But actually, like Marc Olivier Duquette that played in with me with the Mariners. Like we've played together growing up in the summers. We actually played against each other in the minor hockey, but in junior we played against each other. But like this year was really nice to reconnect with him, and yeah, I was lucky. But from juniors, it's tough because everyone goes their different ways. Like some guys that
Yeah.
are dads now, some guys that are working, some guys played pro, so it's kind of tough to like stay connected with all the boys. But I'd say I've got closer with like guys that play junior from my hometown or close to my hometown. Now that I'm a pro, we've all like reconnected. But I feel like when you're in junior, you're playing against each other, so you're not like really friends with the boys when you're playing junior.
So when you had your best offensive season in 2015, 2016, you had 68 points in 56 games. But I also saw that you had 64 penalty minutes. Are there any fights that people should know about?
I remember I had a few good tilts. I was feisty back then. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like it was like a tough year for me because like my family was dealing with some issues with cancer and all that stuff. I just remember I was like uh, leaving it all on the ice, and whatever it took, I was just gonna do to make sure I was gonna be drafted.
How did your coach, what's his name? It was Bruce Richardson, right?
Yeah,
What effect did he have on you as a hockey player and as a person when you were going through that tough time?
it was huge. Honestly, I remember telling him about everything that was going on, and he just calmed me down. And I just remember he told me, if you play great on the ice, it's gonna help your family so much. So, like that was the thought process I had in my head this whole season. I was like, I'm gonna play well, so this way they don't worry about me and they can focus on their health.
That's awesome that you were leaving it all on the ice and going hard every game.
Yeah, no, it was a tough year, but I'm really happy that it went well that year.
I also saw that you had 23 goals that year. If you can remember one, what do you think the most memorable goal that season was?
Um, it's a tough question. I don't know. I just remember that year. Like I think 5 times I had like 2 goal games, but I couldn't get the hat trick, and I don't think I had a hat trick in my career in junior. I was always a 2 goal guy.
Did you chirp a lot back in the day or now?
Nowadays, no, I don't like to play the
No.
chirping game because like my English is good, but it's not like incredible. So it's a little harder to chirp in English for me than it is in French.
Are there any players that you played with that are really good chirpers?
Yeah, yeah. Cole Bardreau, I think he played in Bridgeport this year. I played with him with the Phantoms my first year pro, and this guy was a big chirper, like smaller guy, really thick, wasn't scared of anyone, but after the whistles, he was giving it to everyone.
That's the kind of guy you love on your team. Just,
Oh yeah, definitely.
you can just play your game, throw a big hit, and he's there to back you up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes you play different.
So 2016, you played in the top prospects game for Timor. You had 2 goals, and I think you set up the game-winning goal. Were you nervous for that game, or was that the type of game that you were excited to be a part of?
Definitely a little nervous, but uh, it was a good nervousness. I don't know if you can say that, but
Yeah.
like I had butterflies. I was like, man, that's a great game. I'll be able to compare myself with like the 40 best prospects or whatever. So I got the chance to play like with Matthew Kachuk and Chikrin, Kairu, all those guys were there. So it was like really nice to like compare yourself with the other ones. And luckily, uh, the night was proven to be mine.
Was Bobby Orr your coach for that game? Was he on the bench?
Yeah, he was on the bench, I think, if I remember
awesome.
correctly. He was just rolling the lines though.
Oh,
I had a picture with him and a jersey signed from him, so it's a good souvenir.
I've never watched one of those games, but like, do people actually like throw big hits in it?
Not really, yeah. I'd say it's like more skill, and I remember I blocked a shot with my back. Hurt like hell. But yeah, I was gonna do everything. I was like, oh, we're winning 3-2. I gotta block that shot.
yeah. Your first goal in that game, you toe dragged someone and just ripped it from I think it was the top
Yeah,
of the circle. That was a beautiful goal. I saw that one.
I told Jack the Brinket, I think.
Oh, really?
Jeez.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
I also saw there were 10,000 people there, which is pretty crazy. So what was the atmosphere like?
Yeah, is that the biggest crowd you played in front of?
At that
For
time, I
that?
think, yeah, even that to this day, I think I played one exhibition game in Philly at the Wells Fargo. It was like packed, so that was nice. But other than that, like in junior, my rank was like 2,000. So to play in front of 10,000 was a big deal back then.
So later that year, you got drafted by the Flyers, second round, 36th overall. Can you talk about the moment when you heard that you're going to Philly?
Just like I just remember it was like almost a blackout. You hear your name, you go get your jersey, and you're just like you're so shocked that it actually happened, and it took me like a good few weeks to like soak it all in. It was a great moment, uh, obviously for me, but my family too, because everything that happened that year. So it was really nice.
Yeah, all the texts you get, the interviews you have to do, it just must be surreal. Like I couldn't even imagine just the thought of being drafted. Like it just
Yeah,
it's probably the best feeling in the world. All the hard work you put in, and it just finally pays off.
exactly. It was crazy. I just remember I sent out a tweet when I got drafted because when I was younger, I had like a picture with a Flyers jersey on. So I just said like it was meant to be, and then it went like viral on Twitter. And I was getting so many followers. I had like 2 followers on Twitter, and now I had like 3,000. I was like, oh my god.
Are there certain people that reached out to you when you got drafted that kind of sticks with you today?
Um, Older coaches like his name is Frank Lacombe. He actually played for the Quebec Nordiques, and he was my coach in Pee Wee. And I hadn't talked to him like in 5 or 6 years before the draft, and he just texted me out of the blue. He was like, "Congrats! I knew you'd get drafted one day." So that was pretty cool.
I saw a video of you hugging. I forgot what it was on. You hugging Kairu, I think. Are you boys with Kairu?
No, but we played a couple Team Canada tournaments together. Um, yeah, I think maybe the under 18. We were in the same team, so could be from there.
And then about a year later, you played your first pro game with the Phantoms. What was that experience like?
Um, I remember they were finishing up their season. There was like 2 games left before they added the playoffs. Um, I was really nervous because guys are much bigger, faster, smarter than junior.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just remember I was a little nervous, but kept it simple. Got the chance to play with Phil Verone and Greg Carrier was their top scorer. We had a couple good chances. Game went in overtime. The coach sent me out for the overtime. We had a few chances, and then went to a shootout. I'm not the best in the shootouts. I was so nervous, and then he sent me Radcliffe, and I can't remember the third one, but he sent the 2 rookies for shootouts. We didn't score, but it was just a nice moment. It was a lot of trust for a rookie coming in.
What's that video from Junior of you like you stopped and hit it between your legs, then tapped it right in? Was that no goal?
Yeah, it was called no goal on the edge.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, did you practice that move?
Huh?
Did you practice that move a lot?
Yeah, if you ask my older teammates, I was always practicing that move in practice for like a year before I tried in the shootout. And yeah, I was really pissed when he disallowed the goal. Still a nice video though.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful move.
So you also played for the Reading Royals. I'm not too sure how many games you played in Maine, but I think at least one. I saw a video of you scoring. Did you enjoy playing in Maine against the Mariners when you played for the Royals?
Um, I remember that the fans were crazy. They were like chirping behind the window, and I just remember that game. Like we tied it up late. I just remember like throwing water in the fan's face because I was so pissed at him. He was chirping all game, and then I think we won in OT. So I was like, "Fuck, the fans are crazy here in Maine. They're so annoying." But I guess it's good when you're on the home team now.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to now, you're on the Mariners.
Yeah, exactly. Last summer when they contacted me and my agent, uh, I was I was excited to sign in Maine because I knew it was like a great place to play. It's a nice city. Uh, they have great fans, and it was a blast.
Did you know any players that were on Maine that you played with growing up or juniors against or
Like
with?
I said earlier, Duquette, I knew him,
Oh yeah.
and I played against Askew in junior. Um, Boutier, that was there for a little while, the goalie. Knew him a little bit, but for the rest, I didn't really know the guys.
What was it like playing in the playoffs? Because I think we went to game 3 or 4, and it's probably the loudest I've ever heard that arena.
Yeah.
So it's pretty sick. But what was that like as a player in that playoff atmosphere in Maine?
I think it gave us good energy. You know, we were down two, coming back home. We knew that our fans would help us like get that energy, and it did. It was wild. Like every goal, every check, every big save, you guys were up on your feet, cheering on. It was really great, and um, just that last weekend before the playoffs, we had to win all three to make it. It was so like it's gonna be some big memories for me just because it was wild. Like we won the three games, two in OT, and you guys were wild. It was so energetic, like at the end everyone was just cheering and the fans were yelling. It was sick.
Yeah, I think it was game 3 that we were at.
Yeah, it was a Friday night, I think. Now you guys won.
I remember you stuck out to me, number 29.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a lot of speed. Like, you have so much potential to move on to the next level. Like, do you think injuries are still a big factor for you to this day, or do you think you're kind of overcoming them each year and they're getting better?
Definitely injuries are like an aspect that you can't really control as a hockey player. Like first year pro, I got hurt. I had hip surgery after camp my first year pro. So my season started actually when there was 15 games left my first pro year. So that's not a lot of experience. Then the second year, show up to camp in great shape, and then they send me back to Reading to play some more games. So that slowed down the process a little bit. And then last year, COVID, I actually started the camp and I hurt my back and I had to miss like the first few weeks of the season. It's tough when you get hurt. Like there's always someone that's gonna take your spot while you're hurt, and then after that, when you're healthy, to crack the lineup again is kind of hard. You have to work so much harder. The coach has to build trust. And this year, I was having a great start to the season, the first 30 games, and then fluke injury, hurt my wrist, taking a slap shot, and missed 2 months. So it's like you can't really control that, but it kind of sucks, and it slows down uh, your path, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought it up. I meant to ask this earlier, but what was it like playing with no fans during COVID? Like, I've never asked a player before. I know it's weird for the fans, but it must be even weirder for the players.
Yeah, like we knew that's last year, that season wouldn't mean anything because in the American League there was no playoffs, and we only played against Binghamton, Hershey, and Wilkes. So we only played against 3 teams all season. So it was kind of boring, like didn't mean much. And then the only good thing was you travel that day and you come back, sleep in your bed that night. That was the only good thing, because for the rest, it was like pretty boring.
Where did you find your motivation to keep playing hard?
As a pro, you got to do your job. You're paid to play hockey, so and you always want to improve and sign that next contract. So that was the motivation. But obviously, it didn't pan out the way I was hoping. But this year was an amazing year, and I don't regret it.
For sure.
And the Mariners have some great jerseys too. Like they always do like special theme nights and stuff. Like the blueberry one is pretty nice, honestly. What are your thoughts on that one? Because I think it's pretty sick, honestly.
Yeah, I heard that the team was supposed to be named the Blueberries. They did like a
Yeah.
voting, and it came first, but it was mostly outside of town voting. That's why they didn't pick it. But I think it was good. We won, I think, 2 games with that jersey.
What are your thoughts on the mascot Beacon, the puffin?
The mask on him.
The mascot, just like the
The
puffin.
mascot, yeah. I don't know, man. Every time we're trying to go on the ice, he does this little show, and we have to wait in the hallway.
Do you always hope he falls?
Yeah, I think he got tripped once against Reddings. Sonny tripped him.
Did his head come off? Have you seen him without his head or his mask?
No.
What are some of the best spots in Portland that you and the boys like to go and hang out at?
Towards the end of the year, we went a couple times to X Golf, it's called. It's downtown. It was pretty nice. It's like golf simulators. You can have beers. You can have food. It's a pretty good spot. We enjoyed that during the playoffs.
Who do you think the funniest guy in the Mariners locker room is?
Low key, Andrew Romano. He was hurt towards the end of the year, but he was our neighbor in Old Orchard. We lived in Old Orchard, and we spent a lot of time with him. He's a funny dude.
All right, and kind of wrapping things up, what's your end goal for your hockey career? Are you still trying to win the Stanley Cup or play your first NHL game? What's kind of on your mind?
Um, I don't want to see too far. If it happens, it happens. One day, like to play one game would be a dream, like childhood dream. But if it doesn't happen, every year that I play pro hockey, I make new friends, make memories. My girlfriend gets to travel with me. She makes memories too. So I think I'm just pretty lucky to be playing hockey for a living. And if I make it to the NHL one day, I'll be really pumped. But if I just play in ACHL, Europe, or AHL, it's a fun time anyways.